into a dramatic, suspenseful tone. On January 31st, 2013, a young Canadian student checked into a hotel in downtown Los Angeles and vanished. What happened next would baffle detectives, terrify the internet, and spawn countless conspiracy theories. Her name was Elisa Lam, and her death remains one of the most haunting mysteries of the 21st century. Elisa Lam was 21 years old, a student from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada. She was on a solo trip across California journey she documented on her blog, sharing her thoughts on life, mental health, and her desire to experience freedom and the unknown. She arrived in LA on January 26 and checked into the Cecil Hotel. But this wasn't just any hotel. The Cecil Hotel had a dark and disturbing past. This was the same place where serial killer Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, once stayed. Over the years, the hotel had earned a reputation for suicides, murders, and paranormal claims. Locals even called it cursed. At first, Elisa shared a dorm-style room with other guests, but after they complained about her odd behavior, the hotel moved her to a room of her own. Then, on January 31st, she vanished. When Elisa's parents didn't hear from her, they became worried. They called the LAPD, and police began an investigation. They searched the hotel, interviewed staff, and checked nearby areas, but no trace of Elisa was found. Flyers with her face were plastered across the city. Online, forums and Reddit threads began buzzing with theories. She had seemingly disappeared into thin air. But then, 2 weeks later, the police released a video, a piece of security footage that would take the case from strange to downright terrifying. The now infamous elevator video showed Elisa Lam in one of the hotel's elevators just hours before she disappeared. At first, she walks in and presses multiple buttons. She waits. The elevator door doesn't close. She steps out, then back in, then hides in the corner. She peeks out into the hallway like someone is following her. Then she begins moving her hands in bizarre, unnatural motions as if talking to someone invisible. And then she walks away. The elevator finally closes, and the screen fades to black. The footage went viral overnight. People were horrified. What was wrong with the elevator? Was Elisa being chased? Why were her movements so strange? Theories exploded. Some believed Elisa was having a mental health episode. She had previously been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. Others were convinced she was under the influence of drugs, or even being pursued by someone trying to harm her. But the internet had even wilder ideas. Some claimed the hotel was haunted, that Elisa had encountered a ghost. Others pointed out similarities to a Korean horror film where a girl is found dead in an elevator. A few even said she was playing the elevator game, an urban legend from Korea where pressing elevator buttons in a certain sequence transports you to another dimension. The theories only grew darker, until 19 days after she vanished, the mystery took an even more disturbing turn. Guests at the Cecil Hotel began to complain about the water. It tasted weird. The pressure was low, and the color, black. Maintenance workers were sent to investigate the rooftop water tanks. When one of them opened the hatch, he made a horrifying discovery. Elisa Lam's body was floating inside. Naked, lifeless. She had been in the tank for nearly 3 weeks. No one could explain how she got there. The rooftop was locked and alarmed. The water tanks were heavy, tall, and not easily accessible, especially for a young woman acting alone. Even stranger, her clothes were found at the bottom of the tank, but there were no signs of trauma, no drugs in her system, and the cause of death. Accidental drowning? That was it. Case closed. Or was it? How did Elisa get to the roof? Why didn't the alarms go off? Why was the elevator acting so strange? And why was she naked? Many believed the police had gotten it wrong. Some suspected foul play, pointing to the fact that the tank's hatch was closed when she was found. How could she have closed it herself after climbing in? A few even accused a death metal musician who stayed at the hotel a year prior, though he had nothing to do with the case. Others believed the hotel was covering something up. Psychologists argued that Elisa may have suffered a manic episode and accidentally drowned herself. They said her odd behavior was consistent with bipolar psychosis. But skeptics weren't convinced. How could someone climb onto the hotel roof, lift a heavy water tank lid, remove their clothes, and drown all without anyone seeing? And why did the hotel wait so long to check the tanks, despite water complaints? The mystery only deepened when online users discovered a chilling coincidence. A tuberculosis outbreak happened around the same time, just blocks from the hotel. The test used to detect TB, it was called the Lam test. Coincidence, or something darker? The case of Elisa Lam remains unsolved in the eyes of many. Netflix later released the documentary, Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. But even that failed to give definitive answers. To this day, countless videos, podcasts, and Reddit threads continue to analyze every second of that elevator footage. Every detail of her death. Was she a victim of her own mind, or something much more sinister? We may never know what really happened to Elisa Lam, but one thing is certain: the Cecil Hotel isn't just a building, it's a place where history, horror, and human tragedy seem to collide. And sometimes, the scariest stories are the ones without an ending. What do you think happened to Elisa Lam? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you love mysterious true crime stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.